This is Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles from Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Retirement isn't just about saving, it's about having a strategy that helps you navigate market ups and downs, combat inflation, and secure the future you deserve. That's why Financially Fit Radio is here to tackle your biggest financial concerns, share actionable strategies, and help you move toward your retirement goals with confidence. And now, here's Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles.
Welcome back to another episode of Financially Fit Radio. I'm Cory Sickles with Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. If you'd like any information about anything that we discuss on the show today, feel free to give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always visit us online at safeharboroh.com. And while you're on our website, feel free to check out our radio page. You can listen to today's show, previous shows. You can also subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, or Spotify. Also, feel free to watch today's show on our YouTube channel. Just type in Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors. Go to the Financially Fit Radio playlist. You can watch today's show, previous shows. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and be notified when we have new short videos. We put about 4 or 5 shorts out a week about different types of financial topics. Again, we're here to help and guide you to make sure that you have the best retirement that you possibly can. So feel free to schedule a complimentary, no obligation meeting with us. Just, again, visit our website at safeharboroh.com or give us a call at 614-760-0670. Well, today we're going to talk about the big, beautiful bill. It's been in the news for the last, I don't know how many months. It finally got passed. Now we kind of want to talk about, what is it really going to do to your wallet? How are you going to actually see the benefits of this, over the next few years? But before we dive into that, let me introduce to you my co-host this week and every week, and that's Tony Shore. Tony, how are you?
I'm great, Cory, and wow, the big, beautiful bill, crazy, and big is right. The one accurate part of that description for sure. At least we know the big part, 970 plus pages. So
Yep.
That's like reading War and Peace or trying to make it through the Bible in one sitting, or Stephen King's The Stand. It's a big one. It's a big one.
I kind of wonder how many of them threw the document into AI or Chat GPT and just said, spit me out the high levels of what I need to really know about this bill.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what people did. I know a lot of Congress people admitted they didn't read it. They don't read the bills when they're that big before, but everybody likes to add stuff to them. And like with anything, Cory, there's good and there's bad. There's pros and cons to this bill, and I'm glad you're going to talk about some of the things that are in the bill. How have you been? I know you've been really busy lately, haven't you?
I have been.
Yeah.
Business, been out of town.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, Tony. I mean, July's over.
We're over halfway through the year.
Preseason NFL football games are the first, like August. I was just reading, like August 8th or August something.
Yeah.
First part of August, right?
First week in August.
Highest State's season opener is the end of August. It's actually in August. So, we're almost like 30 to 40 days away, 30 days away here from college football, NFL football. Golf's, fall's going to be here all of a sudden. Fall, golf will be wrapping up here before I even know it.
Yeah, you better get out there. Well, you have time, and now you got to break out all your Ohio State gear. You got to next couple of weeks. You'll be wearing the Ohio State hat. You'll be wearing your jersey on the show, right?
I will be. Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, right now the weather has been, off and on this summer, but hopefully you're able to get some more golf in before the end of the season, right?
Oh, I'll be able to get golf in. It's just,
as
soon as it gets a certain weather-wise, which is probably, we're still a few months away for that, but, I'm a 50-plus guy.
Oh, yeah.
If if it's not above 50, I really don't like to play.
Well, no. I mean, even at 50, that's you're out there when it's 50 degrees. That's saying something. But yeah, I think the years fly by fast. We talked about this the other day. You and I, we love to talk about it. The older we get, the years fly by in a flash, and the days can seem long. I don't know
It can be.
how that is. I don't know
I
how that
know.
happens, but it does. It
Yep.
definitely does. Well, this big beautiful bill, it passed, and Trump got his wish. It passed. He was able to sign it into law July 4th,
Yep.
Independence Day. So break down some of the things that are in here for us.
Well, I think one of the biggest things it's been in the news, right? Um, is let's just talk real quick about just the tax changes, right?
Sure.
So it's going to make permanent, it's going to make permanent the taxes that were actually changed in 2017. Um, does it? Obviously, it's going to that's a good benefit for high earners. It's also a good benefit for corporations. Um, there's going to be all kinds of there's not going to be any taxes on tips, but if you are in the tip industry, make sure you read the fine lines of all that, because it's
Sure.
just not everybody that's going to not pay taxes on tips. There's a boosted child tax credit that we'll talk about, and there's some other deductions as well. But I think the big part of it is when they passed the 2017, you got rid of a lot of deductions. You moved a lot of people over just to be able to take the standard deductions, where a lot of people didn't have to itemize. So there were a lot of benefits that actually I think were good, from a tax purpose. And overall, it's good since they're permanent now. In order to change it, you're going to have votes go back into Congress in order to make that change. And I believe in order to make that change, Tony, it's not a majority. It's probably going to be I think it's a 60% in order to change those type of laws.
It is a super majority. Yeah.
Right. So that's a
Yeah.
super majority. So odds are that's going to stay in place. And as a financial advisor, Tony, that's great because we kind of now know what it's set to, at
Yeah.
least until they go in and make some other changes when they do that. However, by lowering all that type of stuff, I think what's been in the news more than anything else is the type of massive debt impact that's actually going to have, on us as well. They're estimating it's going to be about 3.3 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years. We can go back and forth on that. There might be benefits. Is it going to actually more people work, more people making more money to be able to, even though they have a lower tax break, they're actually going to pay more in taxes? But based upon, my guess is based upon the history of what's been going on since 2017, you're going to have about 3.3 trillion of going to the national debt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. And they say over time it could actually help reduce the debt somewhat. But as it's written right now, it looks like it's going to add about 3 trillion to the national debt. That's not good. There are a lot of budget uh, deficit hawks out there watching this, and they've made known that they're not happy about that. So it is rare that Congress would pass a budget bill that doesn't add to the deficit, right?
Sure.
So it's tough though. That's a lot, and now we're desensitized to it. I mean, $3.3 trillion. That's real money, even to you, Cory. That's real money.
That's big. That's a lot of money, Tony.
That's it's too much to wrap your head around. So,
What even
um,
I can't even put that on my calculator.
right, yeah, it won't fit. Well, so it does add to the deficit. What else does this do?
Another part of it, when we start looking at revenue recapture moves, right? So one of the things that we're going to be able to do is they're going to actually raise the state and local tax, which is what they call the SALT deduction cap. It was, for a couple, it was 10,000. Now it's going to a $40,000. You're going to be able to also see the end of and I think it's over the next few years of the green energy tax credits that were actually given previous to this. I think that's been in the news a lot, Tony.
Yeah.
That had a big impact with Musk, and that was in the whole Musk versus Trump, wars
Right.
or X wars or whatever you want, social wars, whatever you want to talk about it.
Social media wars, yeah. Good way to put it.
between the two. So, so you have that going on, and then there's going to be some additional tax credits that are going to be going to children, and
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, so that is good. We'll talk a little bit here in a few more minutes about the new senior deduction, but obviously, when we start talking about one of the big things that Trump supposedly promised, was to eliminate Social Security taxes for anyone that's actually on that.
Yeah, but that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
That is not part of the bill, and that's kind of a misconception. A lot of people think, "Oh, they are going to stop taxing Social Security," but that isn't in this bill.
Correct. So what did take place with that, Tony, is you are going to have if you're 65 or older, you're going to have a $6,000 tax deduction.
Yep.
Tax deduction. You were I kind of talked about it before the show started. So if you're in a 10% tax bracket, by having a $6,000 tax deduction, it's going to save you about $600 a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you're at a couple, Tony, that all of a sudden now that's $12,000 in additional deductions. The big question is can that actually reduce the Social Security tax you're paying, which is up to you can pay up to 85% today as the max, but then it can go to 50% if you're under a certain income level, and it can even go to zero if you're even below that as well. Yeah. So the big question is what percentage of the people are going to drop from paying 85% to 50, and what percentage will go from paying 50 to zero?
Yeah. And I think, I've read that there will probably be a significant portion of people, seniors, who are currently paying 50 in the 50% area, that the extra deductions might help them drop down to zero, because that's based on taxable income per year. And if you can reduce your taxable income per year by $6,000, right off the top, and plus the other standard deductions, that's going to help a lot of people, I think, drop down. But it's not going to completely remove Social Security tax, and it's not going to help higher wage earners either.
No, it's not going to. And one of the things they were trying to do, I mean, part of all this was they were going to try to maybe have a higher tax benefit, or for Social Security, or a higher deduction, right?
Sure.
But one of the things that came out of all this is what it's called the Byrd Rule.
Yeah.
Which prevents major changes to Social Security through reconciliation, which is what this bill is for.
Yeah.
Making a full repeal of Social Security taxes. They actually have to go through, and it's going to have to be a super majority, which is going to be 60% of the Senate in order to get that done.
Yeah, it has to go through on its own, and it has to get a super majority, and so that's probably not going to happen.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So what's been cut, Tony? So one of the things that obviously, which I think's been in the news a lot of as well, is not only is the potential deficit, but we're looking at about $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and the ACA over the next 10 years, right? New Medicaid work requirements and stricter eligibility checks could leave about 12 million more people uninsured by 2034. And there's also been a lot of reduction with the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or called SNAP as well. I think that's been in the news a lot, but those have definitely been cut as well.
Yeah, and when you say cut, and there's debate on this, whether it's a lot of it is work requirements, and that will force a lot of people off of those programs, or some people at least. And a lot of people are debating that. I hate to see any cut to any social safety net that's been in place for a long time now. So it is interesting. Again, there are really good things about the bill and really bad things about the bill. So, and it kind of depends on your situation and who you are. Some of the things that are bad for one person might be good for another, and some that are good for one person are horrible for another. So, a lot of this stuff is compromise, fighting back and forth for certain things. And that's why a lot of it isn't great, because it's not it's not great one way or the other. They had to compromise, and sometimes it can be worse. So
Right.
that's where we're at. And it'll be interesting to see how all this shakes out over the long term, what impact it really has. We don't know yet, right?
I mean, yeah, we really don't know. Obviously, I think some people need some relief, which is especially seniors are probably, of course, living on some type of budget. Inflation's kind of gone through the roof here. I mean, we haven't really talked about that, Tony, but obviously the tariffs um, are out there.
Yeah,
August 1st is going to be another one that goes out, so we'll see how that kind of plays.
sure.
When the July numbers came out for inflation, it's gone up. We anticipated that, and if more tariffs come, odds are inflation is going to be coming up, which means uh, are they going to lower interest rates? That's a big unknown as well when we
Yeah,
start
it
talking
is.
about that. But we'll see how all that kind of plays out as well. But with all those type of cuts, we've also actually had about $3 trillion, Tony, and other types of things that are going to be paid for. You have $1 trillion going for the defense and immigration enforcement, plus about $90 billion for the border wall and the detention facilities.
Sure.
So there's been some things been added over there as well. We talked about the energy incentives being rolled back. Clean energy tax credits are being eliminated over a period of time.
Yeah,
And
at the end of this year, if you're thinking about doing solar or any type of energy, getting an energy tax credit, do it before the end of 2025.
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree with that. And here's the one part about it. When we're talking about there's a lot in this bill.
Oof.
There's 970 pages into all
Yeah.
this, right? We're still trying to go through and figure out what all this has to be, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, there's going to be some additional deductions and for taxes and things like that. And here's all I would probably tell you. Usually, you probably want to work with a financial advisor so they can kind of see how this is really going to benefit you, so you can understand how this is going to be. Everyone's situation is different.
Yeah.
So by doing income plans and deductions, by working with a CPA, we're going to be able to actually see, I mean, how much money are you truly going to save in 2020, 2025, 2026, and going forward
Yeah.
as well. This stuff's not, we have laws that change every year. This is no different than any other one. There's just a lot more in this one. And I just highly would recommend that for our listeners out there, schedule a complimentary meeting with us so we can actually see how this is really going to impact you, not only today, but maybe, how you can maybe even plan for the future, 3, 5, 10 years from now as well.
Yeah. There you go. Well, it is really important that people work with someone like yourself, though, Cory, because you're going to stay on top of these changes for us and make sure they're incorporated into your plan. If it's something that can benefit you, take advantage of it. And so, how can our listeners and viewers out there get a hold of you if they want to either get a plan in place, they don't have an overall financial plan or retirement plan, or get a second opinion on where they're at?
Well, the best way to get a hold of us is give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always visit our website at safeharboroh.com. Again, whether you call in or go to our website, you can always schedule a complimentary, no obligation meeting with us, and we can sit down and review your current situation, put together some recommendations for you, but more than anything is give you really a blueprint of what your retirement's going to look like. Whether you're 10 years away, whether you are retired, or maybe you're even 20 years away from retirement, you can really never start too early. Tax laws are going to change over time. We're talking about a lot of the things with this one big, beautiful bill today, but there's going to be another bill next year, and there's going to be another bill after that. And it's tough to keep up with all these things.
Yeah.
And that's why you really want to work with someone that does this on a daily basis, whether it's just, whether you're working with a CPA from that standpoint. But a lot of times you want a CPA and an advisor to work together, because now you're blending in your finances as well as looking at what your tax situation is today. But more importantly, it's being able to plan for the future.
Yeah, and that's important. And the good news is now that we know that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is permanent, at least for permanent, meaning at least for now until the end of 2028, probably for sure. We can plan around it once again and look at the Roth possibilities, things like that. You've talked a lot, Cory, about utilizing low tax rates, taking advantage of that and converting maybe some into Roth IRAs. I know you've talked about doing that with some of your clients and maybe some of our listeners. It might be beneficial. But again, I encourage them to reach out and give you a call, 614-760-0670. And just to talk about this just a little bit more today, the big, beautiful bill, the biggest part of it is that extension of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And I would say the addition of some other tax laws and changes, like the addition of that $6,000 uh, bonus deduction for people over 65. And I was reading that is personally, um, that's per person, not per couple. So
That's
that's
correct.
6,000. If you're married and filing jointly, you each get six. Like you said, that's $12,000. And it'll help the middle class, those making, it'll phase if you make 175,000 a year or more in retirement or have that much income, then it's phased out completely. But I think that'll help with Social Security tax for a lot of people and other taxes, but it's not going to solve all the problems, is it?
No, it's not going to solve the problem, but just like you just mentioned, so if you're a couple now, you have $12,000 of added, deductions, to your overall income,
Yeah.
and you're already probably sitting around pretty close to $32,000. So you're going to be sitting close to around $43,000 to $45,000 a year, where you're just going to be that's going to be your standard deduction if you're over 65 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
So, with that being said, that gives you potentially a lot more flexibility to maybe lower your tax bracket,
Yep.
right? And that also gives you a lot more flexibility, I think, to be able to look at Roth conversions from your traditional IRA.
Yeah.
Obviously, we do a lot of that for a lot of our clients. That's something we'll take into consideration. But it's a situation where it can maybe get you more tax-free money 5-6 years from now, where maybe you're not paying any type of taxes.
Right.
And the whole goal is, I believe everyone's goal is to pay as the least amount of taxes that you actually have to pay.
Right. Obviously, you want
I
to
don't know anybody, Tony, that said, "Hey, I'm wanting to just ante up and I'll help pay this debt."
Yeah. We all want to minimize our tax burden as much as possible, especially in retirement.
Yep.
So, again, have a plan that includes a tax-free bucket of income to draw from, and make sure you're working with a professional who works with tax professionals, does tax planning as part of the overall financial planning and retirement planning. And you and your team there at Safe Harbor do this. And I think that's fantastic, Cory. You have to have a written plan in place that's based on your goals for retirement, your personal needs, and then look at how this is going to affect you. And so we give an overview. And Cory, I'm glad you've given us this information today in an overview. But for our listeners out there that want to know how they're going to apply it to their personal situation and how it might affect their retirement if they're currently planning for retirement, pick up the phone and they can give you a call, and it's a no charge, no obligation consultation. You love to hear from our listeners and you love helping folks, right?
I do. Yeah, I mean, we're exactly here just to help people
Yep.
have the best retirement they possibly can. And the only way to be able to do that is to come in, sit down with us. Again, there's no financial obligation. We're here to help put together a plan for you. And at the end of the day, we're a fiduciary, Tony. So we're always going to do what's in your best interest.
I think that's fantastic, Cory, and this is quite a topic. You said it earlier. We're going to keep learning more and more about the bill and how it's going to affect people and the economy, and how this is all going to play out. There's a lot yet to be seen, but again, give that phone number and web address one last time before we go.
No problem, Tony. 614-760-0670. And you can visit our website at safeharboroh.com.
All right. Well, Cory, great show today. Listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Financially Fit Radio with our host, Cory Sickles.
Thank you for joining us for Financially Fit Radio. Don't head into retirement without a strategy that addresses both income and taxes. For more information, please contact Cory Sickles at Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors at 614-760-0670 or visit safeharboroh.com now. Join us again soon for another episode of Financially Fit Radio.
Investment advisory services are offered by Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Investment Advisor. Insurance products and services are offered through Safe Harbor Retirement Group, LLC, an affiliated company. Safe Harbor Wealth Advisors, LLC, and Safe Harbor Retirement Group, LLC, are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any government agency. All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.